You ever hear the story of the bones that walked? Not just rattled, mind you, but walked, stood up, and came looking for you. Most folks figure raw head and bloody bones is just a tale to keep young uns from wandering too far, or maybe from messing with the well, and it was once upon a time across the ocean. But here in these mountains, in the hollers and the coves where the trees stand thick as thieves, it got meaner. It got real. My great uncle Silas, he was one of the men who went up that ridge back in the early 30s, before the war, before the roads cut too deep. Life was hard then, a real grind from can see to can't see, just scratching a living from the dirt and the timber. But there was a rhythm to it, quiet strength. The air smelled of pine and wood smoke and the rich damp earth. You could taste the clean spring water on your tongue, cold and clear. Folks helped each other, mostly, shared what little they had, but there were lines you just didn't cross. Silas, he was a strapping young man then, with a laugh that could fill a room and a way with a fiddle that'd make your feet tap whether you wanted them to or not. He'd tell stories of gathering berries in the summer, the sweet burst of them on your tongue, the sun warm on your back, or the smell of Granny Mae's fresh-baked cornbread, crisp on the outside, soft as a cloud inside. Simple pleasures, but they were everything. Kept the dark thoughts at bay, mostly. Kept folks from dwelling on the shadows that always seemed to cling to the deeper parts of the holler. Now, there was an old woman lived up near the Bald, way out past Possum Trot. Folks called her Ilara. She was a granny woman, knew all the herbs, could set a bone, or birth a baby. But there was something else about her, a certain look in her eye. And she kept a boar, a monstrous thing they said bigger than any hog ought to be. Its hide was rough, like bark, and it smelled of wet earth and something else. Something wild and rank. Most folks kept a wide berth from Alara's place, and especially from that boar. One bitter winter, food was scarce. Silas and a few other men, desperate, decided to go after Alara's boar. They figured it was just a beast after all. A big fat one. Enough meat to feed a dozen families through the lean months. The air bit at your nose, sharp and cold, and the ground crunched underfoot with frozen leaves. They tracked it for days, the smell of its musk heavy in the frosty air. It was queer. How hard it was to catch, almost like it knew. Finally, they cornered it deep in a gully. Silas said his eyes, even in the dim light of the woods, glowed red. It fought like a hen tore at the dog, screaming a sound that wasn't quite a hog squeal. It was wrong. They killed it, eventually. Skinned it right there, took the meat, left the head and bones. A foolish thing to do. An insult. Silas said when they turned to leave. The bloody head, just a carcass on the frozen ground, looked at him. Plum looked at him. That night, a storm blew in, fierce and unnatural. The wind didn't just howl, it screamed. Silas said he could hear it through the thick log walls, a sound like 1,000 souls being dragged over broken glass. And a few days later, a trapper found his prize bear trap sprung, not a bear in sight, but a fresh, bloody paw print beside it. Too big for a dog. Too small for a bear, and a single, clean bear claw lay on the ground. Roll! Pissed. Laying there. Then old man Hemlock, out looking for his lost dog, found a mountain lion carcass, picked clean before its teeth, all of them gone, like someone had pulled them out with pliers, and a raccoon near the creek was found without its tail. The air grew heavy, like before a summer storm, but it was winter. A strange metallic tang hung on the wind. Folks started whispering about Elara and her boar, and about things that shouldn't be moving when they're dead. Silas was home, sitting by the fire, the smell of the hearth comforting. His wife, my great-aunt Maybelle, was knitting. The rocking chair was empty, as it should be. You never leave a rocker rocking empty, invites the haint scent. He felt it before he heard it. A chill, cold as a tomb, that slipped under the door and wrapped around his ankles. Then a sound, a sort of clicking and dragging from outside. Not a deer, not a bear. Something moving on bone. He grabbed his rifle, pushed Maybelle behind him. The door creaked. A long, slow groan of wood was already inside. Silas said it stood in the doorway. What? Not a hog, not a man. A skeleton, upright with a boar skull for a head, but with mountain lion teeth jutting out, bare claws on its feet. A raccoon's tail, twitching, behind it, and it reeked of blood and gray dirt. It was raw head, and it was bloody bones. He fired, shot it clean in the skull. The thing stumbled, a horrible clatter of bone on wood, and fell. Silas and Maybelle fled out into the bitter night, running for their lives. They didn't stop till they reached the next holler over, nearly froze to death. When the men went back the next morning, the cabin was untouched. No sign of a struggle, no blood. And the bullet hole in the door, it was gone. Woody was gone. Just a smooth, unbroken piece of wood. Silas. He never truly recovered. The laugh was still there sometimes, but it was thinner, like stretched cloth. He smelled of wood smoke and fear, always. Maybelle, she painted her door and window frames ink blue after that, and she never left an empty rocking chair still again. They moved away from that holler, left everything behind. Couldn't stand the thought of what might be out there looking for them. This story, it ain't just a tale. It's a token, a warning. Warning hand. You hear echoes of it in different places, sometimes a skull that bites, sometimes a headless skeleton that dances. But it's always about disrespecting the wild and something ancient that comes back to claim what's its. It traveled all the way from England, a bogeyman to scare children. But here in these mountains, where the spirits run deep and the old ways are etched into the rock, it grew teeth and claws and a will of its own. Granny woman down the road from us, she always said you never whistle after dark in the woods. Invites things to listen, things that shouldn't be listening. And sometimes, when the fog rolls in thick from the lowlands and the air turns cold, you can still hear it, a faint clicking and dragging sound way up on the ridge. My kin, we still live in these mountains. We hear these stories. We remember. And we know that some things, once roused, don't ever truly go back to sleep. They just wait. Somewhere out there, I reckon. Somewhere in the dark.